Everybody's resistance to new and different things, that's the conspiracy. It's inside us. It's inside everyone except Bob, who has nothing inside of his head, nothing at all. He's not smart, he's lucky, hence the term SubGenius. You know. Almost anybody with $35 can qualify.
What the hell are we doing here?
No, I would like to ask.
No, I was going to ask you that. What the hell are you doing here?
Great, good.
Why are all these people in my house?
Good.
I didn't know you had to do that these days. We're still trying to figure out what the hell the Church of the SubGenius is. Dr. Philo Drummond and I found out the hard way that you can't say anything so ridiculous that somebody won't believe it. It's also a complete joke and rip on religion. Let's make up a fake cult and tell people exactly what they most want to hear and see how they react, you know, see who believes it. A lot of us, really, our background is in monsters, comic books, and science fiction. And to us, religion is like an even cooler form of science fiction because people will kill each other over that. It's not that we love Bob so much, it's that we love the idea of everybody else going to hell. That's what we have in common with all the other religions. When you make a religion, you have to have three elements. The master, who's, in this case, Bob. A goal, which is slack. Slack is like freedom or happiness. You can't, it's different for everybody. You can't put your finger on it. So they can't sue us when they don't get it. And you have to have an enemy. And at Philo named the enemy, the conspiracy. We decided that the conspiracy was everybody. If you think about it, the United States was founded by people, by your religious nuts. The European religious nuts that nobody else could stand. Hence, we have this huge population of insane fundamentalists of every kind, from the different Christian groups to fundamentalist Jewish people, fundamentalist New Agers. I mean, I know fundamentalist Druids and fundamentalist Wiccans. They don't like the Church of the SubGenius. However, the Druids and Wiccans who are more open-minded love it because we piss off the fundamentalists.
Do people feel like it's really a community? Do you get a sense?
Yeah, it is. And by the same token, although it is a community, it also has the problems that a community does. I think it's human nature for people to want to simplify things. Life is complicated, and people are really complicated. Society is insane. So a simple explanation, it may not be true, but it feels good. In fact, a lot of Bob's most popular slogans are things that sound good, but if you take it apart, it's not words to live by. Well, how does Rush Limbaugh describe what he does? Making the complex simple. Well, guess what, dude? The complex isn't simple. It's complex. The only real law that we go by is fuck them if they can't take a joke. That is one you really can live by, I've found. I used to be an angry young man, and I knew exactly what was good for everybody else. And Republicans were evil and Democrats were good. Well, I got a little older and found out, well, actually everybody's kind of a bit evil and kind of a bit good. And there's, you know, I'm not so sure. The more I know, the more I know I don't know. You know, the less sure I become about things, the more I know. Whereas the more ignorant somebody is, the more sure they are about what little they do know. You know, if you're different, then you're probably better than most people. Well, that's not true, necessarily. It might be, but boy, a lot of people like to think that. And as Bob said, you'll pay to know what you really think. And enough people did that I've been able to make a living off of telling people what they most want to hear. But It's hard work, actually. I put in more hours per day than people with real jobs do. Because I have a slave driver for a boss, that's me, and I have this shirker, slacker for an employee, that's me. So there's sort of a constant tension there.
And he works weekends too. I mean, it's not like a
I'm
9 to 5.
working now.
Yeah, that's right.
Sunday's a big one.
Yeah, Sunday's
Radio
hard.
show.
Sunday's a busy day for preachers.
So you don't have a lot of slack in your own life at the moment.
Actually, I do now. I've learned over the years how to manage my time a little bit better. It was driving me nuts in the 90s. It really was. It was wrecking my health, and I finally kind of let people know I was going nuts, and suddenly I got more help. To tell the truth, when we first started doing this, I kind of took it a little too seriously myself.
Right.
You snap out of it, you know.
Like the number 23 is very popular, yes.
Yeah, there was, there's sections of Book of the SubGenius that I put together when I was probably taking it a little bit too seriously myself. And that's what attracts the real kooks. Luckily, my friends helped me, keep a perspective. And now it's my job to help other people keep perspective on it. So, and keep it fun. That's the main thing. It's got to, number one is the laughs.
Wow, that's a lot of great information. We did spend a lot of time trying to formulate one question that we're going to ask. It's basically, if I can get this right, in this ever-changing world that we live, what would you like to manifest, and what are some steps we could take toward creating that vision?
What we don't want is for the Church of the SubGenius to become a real cult. We're basically doing showbiz. I hate to say that, that's stepping out of character, but honestly, we don't want it to turn into another Scientology or Mormonism. As ridiculous as that sounds, those things started out just as ridiculous. Some great thinkers talk about the singularity, when computers become so brilliant that they save our asses. Well, I'm afraid that the singularity is running neck and neck in a race against the idiogularity, where, will the idiots get there first? One minute Germany was the most civilized place in the world, and suddenly, wham, this horrible barbaric thing is going on. I can see that happening in the United States, the way the climate is right now. I pray that the climate change deniers are right. Every day I pray that they are right, that mankind isn't making things worse, and if the weather does get worse, it's not our fault. But I fear that that's not the case. Bob will always have customers. In that respect, in the long run, I'm very hopeful. I have no doubt that eventually there will be a utopian world where everybody gets along and within reason, and life is easy, and you get to die when you want to. But I'm afraid that Homo sapiens are not going to be involved in that world. In the name of J.R. Bob Dobbs, Connie Dobbs, and any other deities you care to throw into the mix, I now pronounce you ordained SubGenius ministers with all the rights and privileges granted to any holy person, such as being crucified, hung by lynch mobs, pursued to your grave by insane fanatics, and everything. And plus, you can perform marriages. And I charge $200 myself for that. Let somebody turn it into a religion. Screw up.
I really like this drop of hatred.
Huh?
The drop of hatred. I mean, kill those normals.
Right. Well, that's hate is a really important part of it.
Yes.
But when your hate builds up enough and becomes hate squared, then it turns full circle and becomes pure love.
Yeah.
It's the hate of hate itself.
Yes, I love it.
Sort of.
I love this hatred.
Right. Yes, we love to hate.